Welcome everyone to the Danish Wrestling Nerds YouTube channel, and this will also be available at a podcast at a later moment. So welcome, Nick Sullivan, the natural.
Thank you. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going actually great. It's a little bit late here in Denmark, but I could not miss the chance to interview someone using the nickname The Natural. So thank you again. And probably you were wondering, as we were talking about a little bit earlier on, why did I contact you? Well, I'm just a wrestling nerd with over 35 years of interest in wrestling.
Yeah.
And I'm just scrolling around the internet, and it just popped up this guy. Well, he's quite interesting because he stands out from all this jungle of wrestlers.
Yeah.
Wrestlers. So for me, I was just asking myself the questions. Well, I want to dig a little bit deeper into which type of wrestler this is. And for me, I think actually the one thing that's so important is that I think every wrestler has a story to tell. So I'm here to hear your story. Who is Nick Sullivan? And where did it all started about wrestling?
Well, first off, Nick Sullivan, they call me The Natural. Prior to getting into professional wrestling, I was an amateur wrestler since I was a little kid. And a goal of mine and for my grandfather was to always be a pro wrestler. Yeah. So after a long stint in amateur wrestling and freestyle and Greco, I wrestled overseas a few times. It happens when you lose that passion. And you've been doing it for so long that you just don't want to do it anymore, and you want to venture out to something different and new. And it all started, my grandfather, he died back in 2012. And I was in college at the time, and I just remember the way I was taught in amateur wrestling, it's always be aggressive, have a good head on your shoulders, be very humble. But when he passed away, I didn't really know how to, I guess, express myself in an emotional way, like with sadness and stuff. There was a lot of anger, hostility. I wish I could have done something, and a lot of depression. And what happened was, I remember my grandfather and I would watch wrestling all the time. WCW, WWE, TNA, the Monday Night Roars, everything. And that I made a promise to myself was, hey, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. Okay. So late 2017, early 2018, I made in contact with a couple people, but then I started training. And my wrestling coach, who was the one that coached since I was younger, always knew I wanted to be a pro wrestler. And honestly, that's how it all started.
Okay. But from there on, how did you move on? Because one thing is that you start with the training, but the next steps from there, how did you develop into the character that you are today?
Well, my wife.
We have a lot of time, Nick, so take your time.
My wife says I have a little bit of an ego, but when I got into pro wrestling, I just remember very serious, because for me the transition. I'm not sure how it goes for other individuals that transition from a different sport into pro wrestling, but for me, the hard part was holding things back or getting taken out or letting guys do moves to me. I'm so used to going like 120 miles an hour. So I'm practicing, I'm like legit punching guys in the face, suplexing them with their heads and stuff like that. And I don't mean to, it's just a natural instinct.
Yeah.
And that's the phrase the natural comes from. A lot of guys would complain, but it was honestly nothing. I didn't mean to hurt them. And I've been doing this for about, I would say 4 years. So actually after 3-4 months of training, that's when they start having me in matches.
Whoa.
Literally for a year straight, I was just doing squash matches. So somebody just beat them up really quickly, then go on from there. So basically, they took all my strengths and hit my weaknesses. But then the place I was wrestling at, Upstate Pro Wrestling in Rochester, they have a lot of trainers. Colin Delaney is from there. And I just wanted to venture out. So after like a year and a half, 2 years there, I started wrestling at other places, getting other training. And my third year in, like right now, that's when I started developing my character, starting to express myself more, not think about all the moves I'm going to do in the match. Just go out there, be more fluid, just go with the flow. Because the one thing I could say is when I started, I was very robotic because I wanted to, like in amateur wrestling, I was just thinking about my next move ahead. And now I'm at the point where I'm comfortable. I have a character. I'm either a babyface or a heel. I ponder to the crowd, taunt the crowd, have the fans either love me or hate me. And now I'm at that point where I'm at that element where I'm very comfortable.
That's so good, but for you is actually so you're more relaxing in the character and more into the role, because I think, as you actually mentioned, either you got that feeling, or you don't in pro wrestling, and you get too mechanical, you don't enjoy it, you don't see it like a play where you have to do something to give it back to the crowd. But from there on, did you, in your first years or so in pro wrestling, did you experience some bump on the way to where you are now? Because I think actually bumps is very career defining for a lot of wrestlers, because a lot of wrestlers talk about, well, I experienced that and I got from here to there, but it is the bumps that I think is going to make you from a good wrestler to a very...
Oh, yes. Oh, well, one of the reasons why I left this establishment was, and I'm not trying to knock anybody, but I was wrestling there. And the thing is, I wanted to venture out because my thing is, you're going to wrestle same guys every show or once a month. I don't want to be a weekend warrior. My goal to get into pro wrestling was for my grandfather. And my opinion is, if you want to get into pro wrestling, I think your goal is to be able to get signed. I know a lot of people get into reasons, but my goal is to get signed. Both my wife and I, luckily I work from home and we both have very good jobs, but my goal is to say, hey, quit your job, take care of the baby and the dog, let me take care of everything. Like, that's my goal. That's all I think about whenever I wrestle, compete. But to backtrack, things happen. Me and the promoter didn't see eye to eye. He said some things. It is what it is. And my goal, I like to prove people wrong.
Exactly.
And my goal was, I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna curse on your podcast, but
it's fine.
Okay. I'm like, all right, motherfucker, you want to treat me like a dog or a piece of shit? I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Exactly.
Two is, I know what I'm capable of, especially with the amateur wrestling background, when it comes to holds and stuff like that. And my thing is, you know how it is with wrestling; it's all word of mouth. And I did not want to get a bad rap, so it's not tucking your tail between your legs. It's like, okay, let me backtrack, because the old me will get mad. I'm like, oh, I'm going to knock you out. But the adult me is going to be like, you know what? Okay, hey, sir, thank you for the opportunity. Good luck with the company. That's the one thing I don't want anybody to fail. But my thing is, you're going to treat me like a piece of crap. I will make sure to get back at you in a way where it makes me shine.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe I've been doing so far.
But that's great, because I think actually, if you can perform or give the crowd everything that you want, you have to have a good chemistry with the promoter. You want to make sure that you're there and that you're feeling comfortable.
Yes.
No chances in that you can do that if you're not comfortable. So where did you move on from that? Because honestly, I did a little bit of digging, but for me, these interviews here, I just wanted to like being sitting on a couch beside each other's, just talking about wrestling.
Oh yeah.
So for me, so just let me hear from there. Where are you now? Exactly, in the wrestling history, because.
Okay, so I started, because where I live in central New York. So here in Rochester, we have Rochester, Binghamton, Buffalo, and where I'm from, Syracuse, New York. So I started out locally to the other promotions. And for example, Empire State Wrestling, which is in Buffalo, which is a very, very hard company to get into. and I had the opportunity to wrestle there.
Oh, so, nice.
Yes. I started doing a couple matches there. That's to Excite Wrestling in Binghamton. But then I had the opportunity. My big break was about, I would say, 2 years ago, where I did Chinlock Wrestling, which is in Kingston, Ontario, because we're so close to Canada. And when I did amateur wrestling, I would always do the Canada Cup and do the Canadian Nationals. But besides that, I did a show in Kingston, Ontario for Chinlock Pro Wrestling. I actually contacted the owner originally, and I said, "Hey, I'm not that far away. I'll come help out. I don't expect to wrestle." And he's like, "No, let me put you in a battle royal." And it was with House of Hardcore. So I had a chance to get some good stuff in, get a couple throws in. And there's a company in Canada called C4, which is one of the top companies in Canada.
Exactly.
Kevin Owens and the promoter there's Stephen Gibson. He watched me and then he talked to me afterwards. He's like, "Hey, I think I know you," and I think I know him too. He may have seen me do amateur wrestling. I'm like, "Oh yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, I run C4." I'm like, "Oh, I know what that is." He asked me to come down the week after. Came down. I got on the pre-show. Then I did a couple more matches there. Then obviously the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
But my goal overall is that my goals are mostly wrestle in Canada. I'm a very big, like with the Canadian fans, they're very passionate. Every crowd's a very big crowd. Most of my friends are Canadian wrestlers. And I notice when it comes to other promotions I've wrestled in, all these guys want to do is just they want to help each other out and just work together.
Exactly.
That's what it's be about. Obviously, there's going to be egos and backstabbing involved, but a lot of these guys, like, they want to have the matches make sense, just work together. And to backtrack with that, I've been wrestling mainly for a company in Albany, New York, run by Mike King, called the Championship Wrestling. And actually, that's where I had my match with Moose. Back row champion. And I know from my area, he played at Syracuse University. And I will say, like, with that match, that was like my test match to show, like, hey, I know I can make it. And him and I had a banger of a match, and I picked his brains after. And it's pretty cool because him and I both started the same way, starting doing pro wrestling late and just progress from there. And I'm hopefully him and I do get a rematch, but just that match definitely proved like I have what it's worth to get signed.
Yeah.
And that, like, I'm sort of just go through the moon and shine in the stars, you know?
Exactly. But maybe Moose is that lucky that he will get a rematch with you.
Yeah.
Exactly. You have to turn it a little bit around there, I think. But let's take if you can take us back to that match. What was your thoughts going into that match with Moose?
Literally for like 2 weeks straight. My manager, Fowler Derek, who's actually I've actually known him for a very long time. He actually taught my brothers and my wife. And he was a very, very good pro wrestler. When I was young, I used to bother him at the gym all the time. But besides that, we had a game plan on how we would. I watched Moose all the time, so I would watch more of his matches in depth, more of as a wrestler than a fan to pinpoint what he does. Awareness. Fowler Derek and myself were at the wrestling school where we train at in Syracuse, and we're going over ideas on how we want to do the match. And Moose and I spoke online a few times, but then when Moose came to the show, we just clicked. And the ideas that he had the same ideas, which was awesome. And I can say right now, for someone like him, he's very helpful and very giving.
Perfect.
And I couldn't say anything negative about that guy. And I know, and what makes me laugh online, as you know, like, you have wrestling fans or guys that are jealous of other guys' success. Well, that would dog him or other guys on, or dog Impact Wrestling in general. It's like, but why? I'm like, these guys are making good money. WWE's been trying to get at him. He keeps resigning with Impact, so they must be doing something right. But again, too, everyone wants to complain. Everyone wants to put somebody down. But I think that's how society is in general.
Yeah, but that's the general problem actually at the moment about the wrestling world, if you ask me, Nick, because everyone uses so much time bashing the other promotions, like the feud between WWE, AEW, Impact, and so on. It's like a kindergarten.
Yeah.
Oh, my shovel is bigger than your shovels. My father is stronger than your father, and so on. Yep. Instead of enjoying that we have so much diversity in wrestling at the moment.
I 100% agree, and I think that's and another problem is too with the wrestlers too. Yeah. All these guys want to bash these companies or a lot of these wrestlers on TV, but it's like, okay, you want to bash these guys again? Wrestling's word of mouth, so they probably know you're talking shit about them. But again, like people can talk shit about me all the time. I don't care. My goal is to get signed and make money, and that's how I think everyone should be. But it makes you laugh a lot of these guys that are shitty wrestlers talking negative about this guy or that guy. But it's like, all right, but I bet you if they offer you a contract or they offer you this money, you bend over backwards, or you'll have the guy bend over. I'm like, all right, which ass do you want me to kiss? You know, and it baffles me, and that's why when it comes to the locker room, I'm always respectful, shake everyone's hand. But to me, it's all about, in my mind, it's all about my match. I don't care where I am on the card. My goal is to be the match of the night, and I take a lot of pride in what I do. I think because of the amateur wrestling, but I'm very performance driven.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like I said, since like my 3.5, 4 years in, now I'm learning with Derek on my side, just learning how to broaden my character development, being more comfortable.
Exactly, but for me, actually, it is that you have to give your every match a great story.
Yep.
Just the storyline in the short run and the big storyline, if it's possible for the long run as well. Because I think for me, the best wrestler and the best matches is very great storyline build up and very good storyline driven.
Yes.
As well.
And I know, sorry to interrupt.
No,
I know
just
people, for example, will like dog on Hulk Hogan, say, oh, he can never wrestle and this and that, or John Cena. But you know what? Look how much money those guys made. I still watch all the old matches to study from, and watching Hulk Hogan, the only thing just comes out. I still get hyped up. I love to meet Hogan. That guy, like, and I know, and people, there's stuff that happened in the past, and people have their opinion, but the thing is, you have to see people's side of the story. I know a lot of things are controversial today in the world, but it's like you have to listen to people or see what they have to say or what's going on in their mind. Because mistakes happen. I made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. You just have to own up to it, you know?
Exactly.
I can tell you right now, like there's a match where I wrestled at FML in Quebec. 2 weeks ago, I wrestled a very great wrestler named Jeremy Prophet. And Derek couldn't attend the event. And that match, that's the match where I showed a lot of my character.
Perfect.
Quebec flag, hung it upside down, waved it, and I blew it on my nose. After the match, I put the Quebec flag after I won in the middle of the ring. Well, actually, I wore it on my neck like a trophy.
Yeah.
Put the Quebec flag in the middle of the ring and gave the second sign. And I felt very good. And he praised because he asked me how long I've been training for and like all my background. I told him, he's like, oh, you've only been wrestling for that long? Yeah. He told me I was very good. I'm like, and someone coming from him with his caliber and him wrestling for like around 20 years, that meant a lot to me. And he told me, like, if there's anything I could do or promotions, just let me know. That made me feel very good. And I saw a lot of friends that I couldn't see because of the pandemic. So I felt very good because my goal is when I'm running a company, especially like in Canada or a brand new company, my goal is to perform at that level. But a lot of guys need to learn how to perform at 110 or 120%. And I just felt so good because that match, I still did all my amateur throws and stuff like that, but it was more of a character I played. And I felt I feel very good after that match. Cause like I did less stuff, but more of a character. I still got paid the same, you know? And exactly. I felt very good. that.
Yeah, but I think actually, so we talked a little about your match with Moose, but tell us actually about your first match ever. We were talking a little bit about it earlier on.
Oh yeah,
Nick.
oh yeah,
yeah.
My first match ever, it literally lasted probably a minute.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was very stiff. It was a squash match. The match starts where I grabbed the guy, I threw him around the ring. He gave me a couple kicks. I dropped to one knee. He runs. I give him the Vader. I pick him with the big ending. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. And that's it. And I think about it now, like the way I'm training now, I'm mixing more of my grapple. Like I'm still doing my grapple. I'm mixing more in depth of the character. But the training back then, I'm glad like the way I took the path of pro wrestling, but I will agree that I wasn't ready. But I am glad and grateful for the path I have taken and how everything developed and came into play.
But also, I think one thing that's very defining for a wrestler is the finishing move.
Yes.
When did you came up with the one that you're using today, Nick?
Well, the big ending when they had to do that move, it was when I started. It was more of the safest move I could do because this, it's just a simple flapjack.
Yeah.
So it was a very safe move I could do with such little training. But then I started developing it more and started doing a lot of improv with it. And a lot of times now I'll do a 5-point throw, which is in Greco. A 5-point throw could be any type of throw depending on your arch, but it'll be a suplex. But it's a legit German suplex.
Okay.
My body, and that guy's going for a ride. And I had a couple instances where, again, it comes to word of mouth where guys will jump with it. Then afterwards, they would complain after. Because if I'm going to legit, because right now I weigh a good 270, 275, and I'm used to throwing guys that are 300 pounds around. And I'm somebody that's 240, and I tell him don't jump, and he decides to jump, he's going to land completely on his neck, and then he complains afterwards. And I used to get pissed off and just scream at people. Yeah. And I had an instance where a guy didn't tell me during the match he was going to try to do a backflip, and he landed on his neck. And all I hear is a crowd saying, "Oh!" Everyone's freaking, and I'm literally in the middle of the ring doing a curtsy like I'm Triple H. I under her soundly. I have no idea what's going on. Everyone back is getting mad at me. I'm getting ready to fight people because I didn't know what was going on. And he told me what happened. I'm like, dude, you make me look bad. I'm like, next time, let me know. But I think that's a lot of disconnect with a lot of guys. A lot of guys want to get their shit in. I will admit a lot of stuff is very cool. I can't do it. But a lot of guys want to get all this stuff in, but there's no storytelling.
Yeah.
And they'll do without letting me know, and the guy gets hurt.
Okay.
Or both parties get hurt.
Okay. So what is your take on the wrestling world at the moment? The promotions. Give us a little bit of insight for the promotions now. Are they good at working together, or is it small kingdoms fighting each other's?
Now, are you talking in essence of like WWE?
No, I think in the indie where you...
Oh, indie, okay.
Yeah.
Now, with my experience, especially with the Canadian promotion, everyone wants to work together because it's all the up-and-coming guys that all wrestle in the same area all over Canada that used to work with guys like Josh Alexander.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, Sonny Kiss, like Josh Briggs when he was before he went to NXT. Like a lot of these young guys, including myself, we have the opportunity to work with all these workhorses that are in the top tier indies or sign with Impact or AEW, like Evil Uno or Sue Grayson, who just got released, which is really shitty because he was a great worker, and I hope he gets back in the limelight, but he'll be fine. But yeah, everyone wants to work together. I have every Canadian promotion I've wrestled in and will be wrestling in the future. Everyone's down to earth. I know everyone in the locker room. Everyone wants to work together from the pre-show match to the very final match. Everyone wants to try to up each other, but in a positive manner. Now, I've been to other promotions where guys go, man, like, oh, you're wrestling at this company and we're all the same state. Oh, you can't wrestle here. Oh no, I have heat on this guy. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, what does that do with me? Like, okay, you hate this guy, you hate that guy. That has nothing to do with me. I'm just a wrestler. I'm trying to make it. You other promoters have your other issues. You guys hate each other. Let's find Danny, but don't take it on me. And that's everybody. If it's this one issue or some guy has an issue with another guy, everyone wants to dog on each other. Just work together, you know. And I will admit, there's some wrestlers that are better than others that will try to take the role and try to make all the companies work together, but they can't even get that to work either. So it's basically a lot of guys that are just basically gunning for themselves, you know.
Okay. But in Denmark, it's actually so funny because we have 4 promotions in this small country, and they can really not work together because, as you were talking a little bit about earlier on, egos is the main problem here.
It's a shame because what it does do, it ruins it for the fans, and it ruins it for the wrestlers too. After a while, the wrestlers are going to start competing with each other or competing with other promotions. Everyone's going to start hating each other.
Exactly, but it's been like that for some years now. We have some good small indie shows. It's great atmosphere. I'm there whenever it is possible for me with my 2 boys or just by myself, doing some small interviews and helping them out. I'm trying to get them to talk a little bit better together with each other, actually, but no, they're not there.
Discussion and talk about your issues. That's the other thing a lot of promoters here should do is all sit in a room and talk about each other's issues and try to hash everything out.
Yeah.
So it's like if Jim Cornette and Vince Russo were in a room together, but that would probably end up.
You have to put them all in a room, eat the key, and says, I'm not puking the key out until you can talk together. But I don't think that will ever work now, because some of them think, well, we're better than you, we're getting more attendees and so on. But yeah,
it's sad too, and that's the reason why I like Wrestling Canada, because one, to me, I get a lot of people will, I'm trying to phrase this like a certain way. A lot of people will take less money to travel to get on a car. And I was that when I first started, I didn't get paid. You know, I get your dues, but I'm at that level where I'm sorry, Russell's top tier talent. And my things, you have to know your worth and get compensated. You know, a lot of guys think differently, but again, too, all the promoters I've been working with and will be working in the future, we have no issues, you know. And we all compromise too. We all work together. We find certain avenues or certain incentives, you know. But a lot of these guys will take $20 or pizza and go to a shitty promotion just to say, oh, I did this in a match, I did that. And hey, more power to you. But my goal is to work at the best companies possible. And there's been companies or guys that I've contacted or promotions who've dogged me. And that's another thing too, is like, it's like, all right, so when I get signed, don't come crawling to me like, oh, hey, Nick, we need you. Hey, can you come in? So like, all right, then I'm going to increase my pay by tenfold. Then what's going to happen?
Exactly.
Thing is too, I like proving people wrong. It's like, if you don't want to bring me in, or if you heard something about me, just tell me. And that's the thing is, honesty is the best policy, you know. But that's the problem, is a lot of these guys won't be honest, or people are afraid of confrontation. It's like, we're all adults, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Later and learn to have confrontation without any physical violence. Just talk it out, you know.
Exactly.
Pro wrestling is like a lot of these guys claim to be tough, but 99% of the time they aren't as tough as they seem to be.
Yeah. They're so soft and gently inside. But I think honesty is actually the way forward, and it's always the best answer to everything. Tell them to their faces what you mean, what you think, and from there on, it will be probably better in the end.
Oh yeah, like I've had a lot of guys get mad at me because like if I wrestle somebody and I don't think the match is good, I'll I'm like, hey, the match sucked. Oh, I'm like, no, it wasn't good. Like, let's not kid ourselves, And they get off like, but why? It's like, I'm not saying it's only your fault. Like, I did stuff too. It's like, if I could be a big douche, but like, yo, you suck, you should quit, but I'm not like that. But if there's somebody that's really bad that acts like an asshole to me, I'll speak my mind.
Yeah, and why shouldn't you, actually?
Yeah, that's the problem, is so many guys are so scared. It's like, but why? It's like, and my thing is too, like, if guys are gonna fire Duke it out, do it in the locker room, have people surround, a couple punches here and there, then shake hands afterwards, Yeah, either drink beer or drink water or get some food, It's just for adults,
So actually, before we could actually go on and talking, I just had this feeling actually just by when we exchanged words through Twitter. It was actually quite good chemistry, but we have to go a little bit deeper into Nick Sullivan now, and it's really getting serious now, Nick.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. But word of mouth is going around about you, Nick, and this is actually that you have met some superstars from WWE, one that's recently changed from AEW to WWE, and he has dyed his hair and is called Cody Rhodes or something like that. Is there something into that, or is it just word of mouth, Nick?
I actually had a chance to meet him before. I've always been a fan of his work because of Dusty Rhodes, because Dusty, I was saying, Gold. I think Gold is one of the best gimmicks ever.
Yeah.
People hate it. I'm not sure if Dustin really likes the character, but you know what? Watching all the old Raws now, that character, that was gold. And no pun intended, gold dust, but it was awesome. Meeting Cody briefly, he had a chance to talk to a lot of us in the locker room, but he was very serious. Like, he had a chance to watch everybody from the balcony, but he was going over his match that night. But the little brief interaction I had with him, very nice, very respectful, just very down to earth, and just an all-around great guy. And just watching him wrestle, he makes everything look so easy. And that's another guy. People talk crap about him, and when he was in AEW, because all the feuds he's been doing, then he's back in WWE, and people make fun of his game. But why? I'm like that guy. His goal, what made me laugh was the whole when people made fun of his promo about ending racism. I'm like, you know what? If that's how he really feels, that's how he felt at that time. He takes acting classes. He really ups his promo game, and you have to respect that. And he's a great wrestler.
Yeah, he is
superstar. I still think he should be AEW champion, but I know the way he did that whole storyline and how he didn't want to go for the belt. My opinion, he still should have been champion, but I can't wait to see him and Roman Reigns go at it, because I think that'll be a great match.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking so much forward to that match, because the build-up is there. It's just a matter of time when they want to push the button for that match.
And someone like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, it's a love and hate between fans of those guys. It's damn if you do, damn if you don't. Roman becomes the heel. People get mad at him. People cheer them. People get mad at him because he cheats. It's like, you want to be a heel for the past 5 years. He's finally a heel. The guy looks like $1 million. He's a movie star.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, he goes from AEW to WWE. He's treated like God, and people still get mad, and there's that disconnect. But again, too, fans want to complain, and wrestlers alike. Wrestlers aren't even signing to complain about it. It's like, man, if you were in their shoes, you'd be thinking a lot different.
Exactly. But I think, again, that's the problem with pro wrestling. Why not enjoy every product that you can get? It's different. Yeah. It's AEW, WWE, Impact, so on. But New Japan Pro Wrestling and so on, there's so much good wrestling around.
Yes.
And I cannot get enough, actually. The only challenge for me is that every good pay-per-view is so late in the evening.
Oh, I know. Because isn't it on like early hours of the morning, right? For you guys?
No, it's actually like this now. It's 1:00 at night, actually now. So It's totally dark outside. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. So for me, yeah, sometimes I stay up late with some of my friends actually to watch some of the pay-per-views, but it's just such a joy for me to watch wrestling actually, because
Yeah.
I watched it for 35 years now or something like that. So, and I still cannot get enough of it. So, so I'm still here. And for me, it's like, I want, with this podcast here and with the YouTube channel, I just want to bring my joy for wrestling out to a lot of other people's, and also to get people's eyes open to there's so much great talent out there.
Yes.
And that's exactly why I wanted to talk to you and why we're sitting here today, because I want to try and cherry pick some of the talents that a lot of people in Denmark and actually in Europe as well do not know yet. But I think they will know Nick Sullivan eventually.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think so.
I did freestyle Greg in Utrecht, Germany, so I've been to Germany a few times. I love it.
Yeah. But you should actually come to Denmark as well. And if you do, Nick, just hook me up and let me know if you're coming here with just by yourself or with your family and so on. You can always stay at my house. I have a lot of space.
Most definitely. Thank you so much.
So yeah, there's a lot of space on beds, and I live actually quite close to the sea as well. So.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So actually, I'm also, I think the time is up now, so maybe we'll just continue and I'll just set up another meeting. But actually, I'm considering going to WrestleMania next year in Hollywood. Really? Yeah, in Hollywood with my youngest child. He's 10, so.
Now, how does it work for because will the tickets be more expensive for you guys, or there's package, right? Like a whole travel package?
Yeah, I think I'll arrange my own actually instead, because it's a dream for me as well. I've never been to a WrestleMania show. Yeah. So, and I think because he's such a great fan of The Rock as well, if The Rock is going to show up at a WWE show, it's next year in Hollywood.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, that would be great.
For such a short period of time of him wrestling, and for how much that he accomplished in such a short period of time of being a pro wrestler. Yeah. So you have to respect that. The guy's the biggest movie star in the world.
Yeah, he's the best paid. So actually, that should also just put everything in perspective for every wrestler and so on. If you can really make it.
Yep, take it to that next level.
Yeah, actually. So what is, Nick, what will the future bring for Nick Sullivan?
The future will bring for me is my overall goal is to get signed with Impact. Just because of I have a young son that I want to be around when he grows up, and obviously WWE and AEW schedule, they're a lot different. But again, too, if I get the opportunity anywhere, I will take it. And I believe I will get the opportunity. This, especially with the talent roster and the talent I'll be working with currently. And this, my goal is to shine, is work with the best of the best, and whether it be in Canada, the U.S., or overseas, or in Denmark. My goal is to work the best of the independents and guys are already signed, is prove my worth and show everybody like I am the natural, I am the best wrestler that there is, and no one's going to stop me. Exactly,
but what is your feeling? What will the next year? Maybe we'll talk about the future. It's such a fluffy word, but let's look into the next year for Nick Sullivan. What will we see there?
All positive. Just keep grinding, working hard. If I get the opportunity tomorrow to be on TV, I will do everything I can to make sure I have a good match. Whether if the match is 5 minutes long, I'll give the best 5-minute match on that goddamn card.
Yeah. But have you been contacted now? I will ask you directly, Nick. Have you been contacted by Impact or some of the other larger promotions?
Not yet. I did when I first started, I did extra work for WWE, and that's about it. I do know that you can contact AEW to do extra work. actually my match with Jeremy Prophet I had a few weeks ago, my first match back, because back in February I wrestled O'Shea Edwards from Ring of Honor, who I'm pretty close. Then I'm getting an orbital fracture, so I was out. I healed in 2 weeks, but I took around 2.5 months, 3 months off just to make sure I'm ready. So that's when I'm going to start contacting promotions. And what the good thing is with a lot of promotions in Canada, they work very close with Impact Wrestling.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
So that's a big benefit for me, especially the promoters that think very highly of me. So it's a win-win situation.
So your goal is actually next year to get a little bit of breakthrough in Impact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just again, like I said, like the talent roster, and a lot of people dog it, but again, too, why? Just my goal is to take the steps, and I was so fascinated with TNA, Impact when I was growing up. I remember when WCW went out of business. And I remember my grandfather and I saw a random commercial. It's like Wednesdays, $10 TNA Impact, which I'm like, oh, Jeff Jarrett. I'm like, oh, is this WCW? So I've always been fascinated with Impact Wrestling, and growing up, AJ Styles.
Oh yeah.
James Storm, these guys, and I'm like, and look at all the accomplishment Impact, and that's my goal too. Like, look at Cardona. Everyone dogged on him when he got let go by WWE. But that guy's making so much money. NWA, Impact Wrestling, Major Figure Podcast, the stuff in GCW with Nick Gage. Just that guy's living the life too, and he's living the dream. I think eventually, once his Impact contract is up, if he actually does have a contract, same thing with NWA, I think he might be going back to WWE for more money, but only time will tell.
Yeah, exactly. But I think and that's what I really love about this interview, Nick. You're so damn honest about you want to make it because you want to provide for your family and you want to show them that you can succeed in this line of work, because it's a tough one to succeed in wrestling. You have to stand out in one way or the other. Yeah. But actually, when I look at you, I also see one of my favorite wrestlers at the moment. Actually, I have a lot of favorite wrestlers. I could actually talk for hours and so on. But actually, I see a little bit of Keith Lee in you.
Oh, I wish my goal is to wrestle that man.
Yeah.
For again, someone his size, he's a lot bigger and taller than me, but someone his size. Like doing the ring, it's phenomenal. It's glorious. And I hope he ends up being champion in AEW at some point. It sucks what happened to WWE with like the COVID scare, the injuries, and just then when he came back, this thing, it just happened. Like he wasn't able to get back to where he was. Again, I don't know what happened, but I'm glad he's making a big impact in AEW. I just hope he becomes world champion, because again, too, like a guy his size, like him, Lesnar, those guys, their size, their statures, they're both the same size, but both built differently. Just the stuff those guys can do in the ring, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with Keith Lee. The athleticism that he shows when he wrestles, it's out of this world, and I really like that he's now calling himself Limitless, because I think it's quite spot on for Keith Lee, actually.
Oh yeah.
So
I know for a fact if he pounds me, my big ass will fly in the crowd. Like, and that's something my wife hates about wrestling all the time, because I always constant, but she always knows about my bookings and all that.
Yeah.
She knows the excitement. But my goal was to, if I ever get a chance to wrestle Keith Lee, is if we're on the outside, is I run, he pounds me, and I fly in the crowd.
Yeah.
Because my parents go to my shows, and I always tell my mom, like, hey, if I ever get a chance to wrestle me, he hits me, I fly in the crowd, catch me.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like either you might get up, you may not.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
He's someone I have a lot of respect for, and like he's a fantastic wrestler. And I just hope, and he did very well in WWE, and I just hope that in AEW he does the same.
Yeah, I hope they will build him up right. So
yeah,
so he will get his spot when it's time, because actually, you also have to be honest, actually, Nick, because there's so much great talent in AEW at the moment. But Nick, your dream match, if you could pick any wrestler now, that's actually, let's take it in 2 steps then. If you could pick any wrestler from the past that you want to wrestle, who will that be? And the second question is actually, which wrestler is wrestling across any promotion would you like to wrestle now? So let's take the first one.
Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was my favorite wrestler. It was always a feud between him and Bret Hart, or him and Stone Cold. Shawn Michaels, I remember when they used to come to Syracuse all the time at the World Memorial. I used to go to every show. I used to have the Shawn Michaels glove, the hat. I remember the one time I got in trouble in school. My mom didn't give me tickets. I got mad and I cried. I remember when he came here in 2008 when Edge won the Money in the Bank. They wrestled, and just imagine me, a Jack's teenager, hugging Shawn Michaels after he wins. I'll never forget. I wouldn't let him go for like. I would not let him go because to me it's like he was my childhood, the new generation. Like he was professional wrestling. I remember I liked Stone Cold, but I remember when Stone Cold beat me at WrestleMania 14, I was so mad. But then I remember being a little kid, Shawn Michaels had to retire, but then Stone Cold next night was a good guy. I'm like, oh, I like Stone Cold now. I remember every year Shawn Michaels always teased about coming back. I remember when he came back at SummerSlam 2002, I'll never forget, I was in the living room, and when he came back and he won, I was so excited. I wanted one of the super kick, but he won the roll up, and when he got hit with a sledgehammer, I ran to my room.
Oh.
I was so upset. So no, 100% Shawn Michaels, just because again too, people have their opinion on him, but he's a guy that Mr. WrestleMania puts on matches. He even made jobbers look good, you know? And he's the type of guy that can carry, I feel like that can carry anybody, or no matter what. Now for current, I would have to say either Daniel Bryan or Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is again the top dog in WWE, and wrestling Roman Reigns, that's when you know that you're the best. And Daniel Bryan is the type of individual that loves working with younger talent. He likes building guys up. And I always been a big fan of Daniel Bryan, and I know that him and I could have a pretty stiff match. And he's somebody that he lived the, I guess you could say, the American wrestling dream. He came in WWE, indie talent, Ring of Honor. He got let go. Then he came back, worked his way up. Literally the crowd and everyone around the world basically put him in the main event picture for the Yes Movement. Even though he was a world champion prior, like a couple years prior, feuding with CM Punk, but the Yes Movement really solidified his character success in WWE. And what he proves is he's not a big guy, but he can work. He works hard. He's very stiff, and he could go. So he's someone I would love to work with, and I know he could bring me to the next level too as well.
Yeah, but that's actually a lot of wrestlers that I talk with is always mentioning Daniel Bryan. Yeah. But also in my eyes, he's got something special. He's great at developing his character.
Yes.
And
like that.
Sorry, Nick.
Oh, you're okay.
Yeah. Actually, the current thing that he's doing, the Blackpool Combat Club, actually, again, some people say it's a stiff gimmick, a dumb gimmick, or something like that. But I think it's great because I think we're now seeing another side of Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, and like what I know, when it comes to pro wrestling, when I talk about charisma and stuff, it's all about facial visuals. Like, especially when you put on a hold or doing something in the ring, yeah, maybe everyone in the front row can see you, but can everyone in those bleachers see you? It's all about presence and your visual to have to engage everyone, whether it be internet, TV, computer, all in the arena. Just once you see your visuals and the way you express yourself, you have everyone hooked. And speaking the stable he's in right now, and it makes me laugh because I feel like people forget how William Regal used to be in WCW. Yeah. Like William Regal in WCW, like he was like an aristocrat type gimmick, but he was very stiff for the ring, and he put on some great matches, especially with Steamboat, Fit Finley. Like he was having some great matches.
Exactly. But it's such a great thing that they actually bring him back, and giving him a chance to shine a little bit more before he actually, and also actually if AEW is using him to develop some of their talents as well.
Yeah. Another person too, like a lot of people didn't really consider being part of that group, was Moxley. I know William Regal worked very close with Moxley and Daniel Bryan throughout their career, so it's like, why not? I know Moxley's gimmick is a lot different than a lot of guys and gals, but it works well with Regal because he's very stiff. I know a lot of people question his wrestling ability, but you know what? The crowd loves him.
Yeah. You know? He's connecting with the crowd, like,
and that's how it is. All that matters. If you can connect with the crowd, you could be a shitty wrestler, but if you connect with the crowd, you're gonna be booked all the time. And sort of the backtrack, I know I listen to kayfabe commentaries a lot, like all the old stuff with Sean Oliver.
Yeah.
And listen to Kevin Nash. I laugh because a lot of people make fun of Kevin Nash to talk about his wrestling ability or how he only does 5 moves or whatever. But the thing is, the guy's legit 7 feet tall, 300 pounds. He's not fat. No. And maybe his title run in 95 wasn't up to par, but he was having great matches. But again, too, there wasn't that good of a talent there for him to work with, so he could only do so much. But you know what? Look at him in WCW. That guy oozed charisma. The NWO, the Outsiders, him and Scott Hall, like, as bad guys, they were cool. And like you watch, I'm like, yo, this guy's awesome. I listened to Kevin Nash's interview. That's what I can attest when it talks about, it's about the money and the miles. And he even, a lot of guys take it so seriously that they don't care about the money. But again, so you have to think about it. You're providing for your family, yourself. So you have to think about the money.
Yeah, you have to. And again, Nick, honesty, both to the outside that are watching you, but also to yourself.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to earn a good buck.
Yes.
They're not in it for just their blue eyes and a smile from the crowd. They want to earn some money. Let's be honest.
Yep. And like when I first started, I wasn't there to make friends. I was there to work, but luckily I had the opportunity to make a lot of friends along the way, and a lot of people's respect. So that makes me feel good. Or my goal is to prove myself and prove people wrong, and I believe I've done that so far.
Yeah. You, and I'm going to follow you closely. Actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, for sure, because that's, for me, I want to see if I actually could have found some needle in a wrestling world haystack. Because actually, I think you have great potential to go a long way.
Thank you.
So,
and the one thing that I think that benefits me, and I've been told this all the time, is because of my amateur wrestling background, because I know how to do certain throws and certain moves, and if I have to shoot on somebody, I can. But I see guys on TV, and it's like, yo, how the hell is he on TV? Or I've done shows with the guys that are on TV, and I'm like, this guy. I've never heard of him before because people are like, oh, you're not a real wrestling fan, you're not a real wrestler. I'm like, I know what wrestling was until I became a pro wrestler. Oh. I never knew it was called independent wrestling. I was used to ECW, WCW, WWE, TNA, FMW in Japan, All Japan, New Japan, Pro Wrestling. That's all I was used to watching. So I never knew it was really independent wrestling. Like I never knew that's how you became a pro wrestler. I literally thought when I was little, you go to college and you become a pro wrestler. That's really how that's how I thought it worked. I didn't know. I never knew there was a thing called a wrestling school. And when I found, I'm like, oh, this is awesome, you know. But again, with my 3.5, 4 years in, I learned how to tone it down, especially when it comes like the character development. Well, broadening that, but like the stiffness, like the way I work, I'm very safe, and that's all you have to be. Like you have to have your opponent trusts you. But again, to having guys like Jeremy Prophet, Moose, O'Shea, like these top tier talents that say, oh, you're a very safe worker, oh, you work really good, or a Cheech, a Colin Delaney, it's like, okay, I must be doing something right. Yeah. So I was up playing how hard I work, then all right, then you Russell Moose, somebody like that, and you have their opinion, you know. So this makes you feel good, and this makes you want to keep going harder and harder and harder.
Yeah, but actually, Nick, one thing also, you were earlier mentioning a little bit about WWE and your connection to that promotion. So what is the story about you and WWE?
Well, literally when I first started, I signed up to do extra work, and I got picked to do extra work, and it was a very good experience. It's very professional. Like, you get to see everything. Like, I got there early for both Raw and SmackDown, and I just watched how the production works, how they put the ring together. It's just very fascinating. I had a chance to speak to a couple guys, try to pick their brains, but again, too, you're told not to approach people either. But I was very respectful. But if somebody came up to me and say, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" or "What are you doing?" and then that's when I start talking to somebody, you know.
Exactly.
So I'm always very respectful and just do what I can just to watch and help out. And I signed up for the Performance Center, have been denied, so that I still take that as a positive. And from me wrestling back then to now, I progressed 110%. So, and just like you, there's so many wrestlers in independent wrestling, but again, too, I respect what a lot of guys do, but it's a lot of cookie cutter. Like, there's a lot of guys that do the same stuff, and yeah, it gets a big pop and everything, but there's no storytelling or how are you going to feel in the next couple of years, you know what I mean? And
exactly,
like, what helps me out is I stand out because I'm a big guy, but what helps out is my amateur wrestling background. I'm very aggressive in the ring. I do some legit throws. People in the ring, like, yo, he's like, people in the crowd watch, like, yo, he's real, and that's my goal, is to give him that S, like, yo, he's real. But again, too, I'm developing that character where I want to be cocky. I want to pander to the crowd, have people hate me, or have people throw food at me, or have little kids say I hate you. I'm like, oh, I hate you right back.
Yeah.
So I'm very comfortable in my skin when it comes to professional wrestling as a character, and I'm glad I'm able to develop that. Like, the one thing I can say right now is, obviously, Gable Stevenson. He signed with WWE. I know his brother wrestles on NXT. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, he has no character," or he's bland, or he's not gonna last. Or a lot of people try to compare him to Kurt Angle. And that's the thing is, like, instead of comparing him to Kurt Angle, compare him to the next Gable Stevenson. Like, Kurt Angle, met him a few times, picked his brain. To me, one of my favorite wrestlers. That's another guy I want to wrestle, is Kurt Angle. Just, he was able to take his amateur wrestling, and he's a rare guy that was able to pick it up so quickly. But he's another guy too, like the way he was trained and the Olympic style level, he was just so used to boom, just click with it. But then he was able to put in the comedic aspect, and look where his career went, you know. And I just hope people give Gable Stevenson his chance and just let him shine, because obviously he's a very good Olympic wrestler, NCAA champion, Olympic champion, and people are gonna dog shit on him. But why? You know,
yeah,
always have something to complain about. It's like, that guy, if he wants, the guy can go in the crown, grab you by the neck, and just throw you around. Like, give the guy a chance. He had like maybe a few appearances. Again too, it's all new to him too. You know, obviously he was on the big stage in the Olympics and the NCAA's, but now it's pro wrestling. Give him a chance. You know, give him a chance to shine and develop his character. I think he'll do great. But sorry to go off. That's another.
No. That's exactly what I wanted. That you feel so comfortable that you're just talking like that. But I think actually it's quite interesting, Nick, because actually I've watched Gabe Stevenson as well, and I think also he will probably bring something new to pro wrestling.
Like, look at Chad, for example. American Alpha was a phenomenal tag.
Yeah.
And people talk about, oh, his Shorty G character, oh, he's in the doghouse, blah blah blah. But look at his character now. You know what? And people say, oh, his character ruined it. But you know what? No, he works for a company, and he'll do anything it takes, you know. And look at him now. And I think he's one of the best wrestlers too out there. And he's not a big guy either, but just because his charisma and thank you and him being a college graduate and everything like that, it's like it works. And he reminds me of a Kurt Angle. And I think a lot of these guys, and I know a lot of people want to push back and stuff like that, but it's like sometimes just take a chance, take a gamble. It's because it can mean something, especially these guys in the back. I know people complain about Bruce Pritchard or John Laurinaitis, but you know what? Or Vince McMahon, like they're your bosses, you know? I know the whole situation with Sasha and Naomi. No one really knows what's going on. The only people who know is Sasha, Naomi, Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, John Laurinaitis, Triple H, Stephanie, and everyone in the company. We don't really know. The only thing we know is about what's going on in dirt sheets, what everyone else is saying. Who knows what's going on? Hopefully they come back. Hopefully they're able to work something out. It could be a storyline. Who knows? But you know what? Get people talking, just like the whole MJF Tony Khan scenario.
Yes.
Who knows what's going on? I'm like, is this real? Because MJF got like 15 times last. I'm like, oh wow, I've never seen that before. But again, too, they're building up Wardlow, so who knows what's going to happen? But again, too, it gets all the fans talking.
Yeah, that incident really made the internet buzz, and I was listening to some podcast and their take on that with the MJF, and that's actually, for me, if you ask me, him and Roman is the top heel guys in professional wrestling at the moment. MJF is so in character. I just actually, it's strange to say actually, Nick, but I love that guy.
Oh yeah, me too. I did a show with him, and just watching him in the crowd. So after my match, I watched his matches, but just watching him, like he did little wrestling. All he did was ponder to the audience and the guy he was going against, and the crowd. It was a very big crowd, and everyone ate it up. That's another guy too. He doesn't have to do a lot of matches. Like last night, he didn't do anything. He came out there, wore a beautiful robe, Burberry, everything to the gilt. Came to the ring, posed, did what he did, but he looked serious. I was like, "Yo, is he like, what's going on? Like, is he gonna walk out, or what's gonna happen? He's gonna shoot on Wardlow? Like, is there try to fight?" And Wardlow fucking power bombs him so many times, and he gets taken out on a stretcher. It's like, oh wow, what's going on? But again, too, it's that visual, it's that performance, that charisma, it's that connection to the audience where it gets everyone talking. It's like, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah, exactly, because one could also think, they're building up Wardlow, but now they're releasing MJF too.
Yeah, it's like, hey, are they burying MJF? And we don't know if MJF got released. If he got released yesterday, Vince McMahon is going to pick him up.
Yeah, they will for sure.
Yeah.
He could really do some great stuff, actually. And maybe will he pick up a feud with CM Punk, because now he's off the Wardlow hook. Maybe he will go for the belt. Who knows, actually? There's so many great storylines to develop there. So
100% agreed.
Yeah. Nick Sullivan. We could talk on, actually my gut feeling was right here. We could go on for hours here, just talking about wrestling. And for me, it's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Likewise.
I'm just honored that you took your time, and after a few back and forth about finding the right time with this time zone stuff, a lot of the wrestlers that I want to talk to is actually in a totally different time zone than me. So it's a bit challenging, because I want to get around the world to find some great talents, but it's mainly the States, Canada, and Europe, actually. But so Nick, again, thank you for being on the show, on the podcast. I will let you know when it will be released.
Perfect. Thank you.
And if you know someone who would love to do an interview, please put them my way. If you
I already have a bunch of names in my mind. So
so please let them. You could actually just write me a DM or something like that. Please let me know, because I want also, for me, Yeah, I would love to interview Bryan Danielson or someone like that, but I will also much more like to interview the upcoming.
The next in line.
Yeah, actually, like yourself, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah. So please get them to write me.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And let's talk again sometimes. Maybe I think actually it could be a fun thing that we'll do an interview once a year.
Oh, I'm down.
Just to have a little bit of a Nick Sullivan storytelling.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we should pick up in a year's time or so. But in the meantime, please let me talk to some of the great talents that you know. Because I want to give every wrestler a chance to tell their story.
Okay.
So thank you again, Nick. Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. And if you have some good promo pictures that I can use, I will make some pop up both at the internet, YouTube, and so on. Please email them.
Oh yeah, will do. Thank you so much.
And if you want for me to do a little bit promotion of you and do some posts and so on, if you have a video that I should link to or something like that, please just send them my way. I will gladly help you.
Okay.
In any way I can.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I will go back to sleep, Nick.
Well, thank you for taking it.
Yeah. Have a great time. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. Take care.
Yeah, you too.